Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex, I got to be real. I'm not sure why we're sitting down to record this podcast on a Monday night when you know, and I know, and the listeners know, and seemingly everyone knows now at this point that by Tuesday morning, the rapture will have happened.
Right, yes. Mm-hmm.
So is anyone even gonna listen to this? Would that make it any different than any other pod? I don't know. But is anyone even gonna be able to listen to this?
It's a good question. Do they have podcasts in heaven or hell, frankly? I know they have them in hell.
What are some pods that you think are playing in hell?
It's Ezra Klein show, left ear. Lex Friedman, right ear.
Thank you for going with those two guys. That's much appreciated. That means I don't have to pull in a bleep.
Exactly. Chosen very carefully.
Lex Friedman, you firing that up?
No, least listenable to interview series of all time. We don't have to talk about Lex Friedman in 2025. It's fine. It's okay.
But we do have to talk
apologize.
about Ezra Klein, which is one of our bigger topics today.
Yeah.
You'd like to step up to the plate and denounce.
We just wanted to have the last word, right? That's the point of putting out the episode right now. Is we need to get one last bit in, because last week when I didn't even realize that this was happening until just a few days ago.
That's because you haven't been tapped into the scripture.
I know, and I know you have.
You should have been listening all these years as I've been trying to turn this into a Catholicism pod. The listeners came aboard, you know?
I went to a wedding this weekend.
Okay.
Was it Catholic? Maybe. It was in a church.
Okay.
Maybe it was Christian.
All right.
One of in that sphere.
You're setting the scene so well.
Super well. I know. No, it brought me back. It was a full like Catholic liturgy. Like there was communion.
30 seconds ago, you didn't know if it was Catholic.
What's that wing of religion? You know, again, they're all the same. Protestantism, whatever. I don't give a shit. Sorry.
Protestantism and Catholicism could not be more different, bro.
How many gods do they believe in?
Yeah, okay.
Is it the same one?
So is that the same as Judaism? Is that the same?
I got news for you.
Is it the same as Islam?
It is.
Yeah, sure. Yes. I'm talking about in practice, though. You would have known if you were in a Protestant church.
Yeah. No, this was like a modern church. It was like, I mean, it was pretty, but it was also, I was like, oh, was this built by Björk Ingalls? Like, come on. Slow your roll a little bit.
Was this built by Björk? I was like, what? They were playing Björk? They're playing Björk at the Protestant wedding?
It was fun. I got to say all the little prayers. I haven't done that in like 15 years.
They're playing Björk at the Protestant wedding. Is that the fastest we've ever found our episode title? New record.
No, I know there are very important differences between all of those.
Yeah. Mostly aesthetic. As the Red Scare girls could probably tell you.
I didn't realize we were introducing our guest this early on. However, in the studio with us.
I shouldn't joke about that. I shouldn't joke about that.
I know.
I shouldn't.
You can't.
I got to stay out of the podcast game, you know. Strictly baseball here.
Right.
Strictly hoops.
Or yeah, I think we just have to stop commenting on things that don't have anything to do with the show. That would technically kind of keep us safe.
See, the way that I
just
view
like
this show,
it's like a monster coming out of me, you know?
No, see, the way that I view the show is
30 season, Coke on the Lower East Side. And I must discuss it.
Dude, you don't even know this, but I went to a dinner with... I shouldn't talk about this. I'll save it for the Patreon episode next week. But the problem is, I think of the purview of this show as being anything I think of.
That's true.
Or anything you think of.
Mm-hmm.
Just say it, you know? You know, like Nancy Reagan was like, just say no.
Yeah.
My whole thing, and you know how Nike is like, just do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My whole thing is like sort of a blend of those two concepts. It's like Nancy meets
Nancy
Nike.
Reagan was not saying no to anything. Let's be real.
Leaving that there. My whole thing is like, just say it. You know, we'll go there.
Right.
We won't be silenced. We're giving our unfiltered views on culture and baseball here on the Tipping Pitches podcast.
Well, I'm glad we can say that now. We were, I mean, you're joking about the Rapture stuff, but we did go dark in solidarity with Jimmy Kimmel for the day yesterday.
Shut up, dude.
And then his show came back, so we were like, all right, I guess free speech is back on the menu, boys.
Did you reactivate your Disney Plus subscription?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is where I saw this going. I was making a good Rapture joke.
You were.
And now you've backed me into talking about Jimmy Kimmel.
No, there's nothing to say there.
First, they came for the late night hosts.
And I appreciate that I can go back to like not caring about him now, you know?
I don't think you can. I think you got to hear what he's going to say.
I don't know where to go from here either. I'm sorry I brought it up.
You
I'm
did
sorry
it.
I did the bit.
You did it. Just say it, you know?
I did say it.
That's true. You shared your true opinion, and I didn't. I'm not trying to silence you for that.
No.
Okay. We have an interesting. I mean, as people can probably tell, we have an interesting and very prescient podcast on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Timely, even baseball related, coming down the pike. We're going to talk about my favorite baseball team reverting back to a previous form. We're going to talk about the greatest pitcher of his generation retiring. We're going to talk about a Cold War between longtime icon of the podcast, Nick Castellanos, and Rob Thomson. And then we're going to talk about my apes gone in the MLB ballpark. But before we do, I am Bobby Wagner.
I am Alex Baisley.
And you are listening to Rapture Talk here on the Tipping Pitches podcast. I really just want to be like a K-Rock DJ. You know, I want to do every read in and out like K-Rock DJs would.
Yeah.
And coming up next, yeah, you guessed it. Another collapse from the boys in Queens. But not before a short word from this sponsor. Speaking of sponsors, thanks to our new patrons this week, Lucian and... Boy, I think that says Theo. I think that's right. It is right. Theo. Can't read my own handwriting. That was the last thing I wrote. Theo.
Usually the last thing, the most recent thing I've written looks the worst. It's always without fail. It always starts well and just evolves with each letter, with each character.
Reminds me of the Mets season.
Hey.
Before we talk about that, though, we have to talk about our friends over at Connect Coffee Roasters. Buy one, get one 50% off on Gold Glove Blend. Be like the Tipping Pitches podcast. Drink Ian Happ's coffee. Have amazing thoughts to share about baseball. That's my sale for you. You know, you've been hearing us talk about Connect for a little while now. Our friends over at Connect. Thanks to our friends at Connect. Thanks to the Cubs for a whole lot of nothing against the Reds this past series. Hopefully you can do better against my Mets coming up. Just kidding. Thanks to the folks that Connect. The coffee is actually good. If you're like, I'm between coffees or I'm out of coffee and you want to just maybe make it easy, it'll be shipped right to your door. Check it out. Link in the description. Buy one, get one 50% off. All right. Here's what it says in my notes. Mets plus Tigers collapse. Boo. Hiss.
I think that kind of sums it up. Does it not?
All right. On to the
next.
Is there
more you want to add? Okay.
Dude, what happened? What happened?
Are you expecting a coherent answer here to the wizardry of the baseball gods?
I was kind of laughing because I sort of forgot what we had talked about on, I guess it was the Patreon feed, and I was listening to a recent episode and I was like, I was giving you a really hard time for not knowing that the Tigers had the best record in the AL and for thinking that the Guardians were in the playoffs. And now look, the Tigers lost like 10 straight after doing a little Trump shimmy on the base paths to celebrate hits. Guardians haven't lost in like 6 weeks. Never
wrong, just early.
Yeah, that's true. And now look at it. I have less to say about that than I do about the Mets, of course. But although the Tiger situation is more shocking to me, they have just been playing the best baseball in the American League pretty much all season.
Pretty much all year, yeah.
And they have the floor pretty much collapsed out from underneath them at the worst possible time. And it's inexplicable to me that the Guardians just refuse to lose because they don't have 3 hitters. They don't have 3 good hitters on the team, but they just don't give up runs. So make sense of that how you will, Alex. I guess you did last week. You knew.
Right, exactly. That's what happens when you can churn out pitchers like that, honestly. It does provide a bit of a firewall.
Are you ill? You sound a little stuffy.
I was very ill this weekend, yes.
Very ill?
Yeah.
Not just regular ill?
Not just regular ill. Very ill. I got that very ill.
On the dance floor or like in general?
I was ill on the dance floor. Yes. A phrase I use commonly.
Did you break out the red bottoms for this?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Okay.
No.
Wasn't that kind of wedding?
Wasn't that kind of wedding. No, I was very ill. I had like 102-degree fever on
Oh my
Friday.
God.
Yeah.
Do you have COVID-19?
I didn't as of late last week.
Okay.
Maybe I do now.
Change.
I don't know. I'm just going to take a bunch of Tylenol and not think about it, honestly.
I think we're getting close to hitting recent Twitter joke bingo. Sorry,
Yep.
recent X the Everything app joke bingo.
Yes.
I think we just need something about one battle after another
Right, exactly.
to finish this row. All right. I need to talk about the Mets for a couple minutes.
Yeah. Go off, King. I'll put the mic down. Floor is yours.
I need you to guide me.
Okay. Right this way, sir.
Okay. All right.
No, not that way. Wrong way. Wrong way. Wrong door. Wrong door.
Wait, hold on. Wait, which door? Where's the camera? Where do I look into?
Good bit.
David Stern's Fraud Watch. I'm never wrong, just early. To borrow your phrase from just 2 minutes ago. I think that the team is mediocre. I think they got off to a hot start. And I think the obvious flaws and the magic of last year that papered over those flaws have come to fore. And I think that it's unfortunate. I talked on the Patreon episode about how I think that the structure of the playoffs has made it seem like these teams on the fringes are worthwhile and could make it in. And once you get in the dance, anything could happen, but that they're actually not that good. And it's severely depressed the excitement of the end of the regular season. This is not a race into the playoffs. This is a race to the bottom. I don't even think that the Reds are playing particularly well or exciting baseball. They're just not quite as bad as the Mets. And yeah, the wheels fell off a while ago and we were just kind of in denial about it. The Mets would win 4 games here and then lose 10 games in a row and then reel off 3 straight and have people get hopeful again just because they have, 3 of the best hitters in baseball at the top of their lineup, and you can sort of squint and see a real team. But they had obvious flaws. I think more alarming for me than the team actually not being very good, because I can stomach that. I've lived with that. More alarming is that we thought that we had driven the stake through the heart of Lowell Mets. And like I talked about last week on the podcast, it's gotten back up off the mat. We missed the heart. It's still alive. It's still kicking. And kicking is the operative word here because I don't know if you saw this, but Jacob Young kicked himself the ball in the outfield after dropping it and caught it and made an out, and the Mets lost the game by 1 run because of it. And because of another robbed home run that Jacob Young had. So I know that Mets fans are kind of annoying to other fans because of how often they complain, but I just have to say, it really does feel like a curse.
Yeah. It feels earned, especially this year. There was little to come out of the deadline. And obviously it's easy to sort of Monday morning quarterback something that happened a month and a half ago. But
what's the baseball equivalent of Monday morning quarterback? Monday morning pitching change?
Right. Yep. Monday morning call to the pen. Yeah, the Ryan Helsley experience has experienced.
I think it's actually more unforgivable that the starting rotation just kind of died.
That as well. Yes.
It happened over the course of like 3 weeks. It was like they were pretty good, and then they just stopped being able to pitch at all.
Yeah.
All at the same time, which is the more alarming piece from a team building perspective. Like, if you're going to be the guy that wins on the margins, if you're going to be the guy that tries creative stuff to essentially cut corners when it comes to building a team because you want to invest in other places, or you prefer the model of building young talent and having cheap cost controlled talent like every GM or president of baseball operations does these days, like Stearns does. You can't have it blow up in such a high profile way when you are also doing other stuff like signing Juan Soto. I mean, I'm not trying to say that like the window is closing, right? But the window was open. There's plenty of room for them to coast into the playoffs of one of the top 2 wild card spots, comfortably behind the Phillies, who are obviously a better team and on a better point in their competitive arc than the Mets are at this exact moment. But it just like, you can't, all of your gambles can't fail.
Correct.
And that's what's happened to David Stearns this year. And kind of the only things that have gone right are the things that the Mets have done in spite of Stearns, the things that he would never have done on his own, the things that Steve Cohen basically said, I hired you, you have to do these things. Sign Juan Soto, bring back Pete Alonso. That's pretty much all that's worked out this year. I mean, Lindor,
yeah.
But he was there years before Stearns was there. So I'm not trying to say that Stearns is a bad GM. And I'm not trying to say that he should be fired. I'm trying to say we are learning hard lessons here about what it is like to live in a world where every GM thinks the exact same way. So now you have every team problems with a team that shouldn't have every team problems because they have a $330 million payroll.
Yes, exactly. Well, and when you're in September pushing for a playoff spot with, 3 rookies in the rotation right now? 2 rookies and 3 rookies in the rotation? Tough spot. Like that is not the fault of Stearns per se, but it is the sort of thing that a well-equipped GM may have been better prepared for. Like the Mets collapse feels honestly a little bit different from the Tigers to me, where the Tigers, for much of the season, I think, while they were very good, were performing really well offensively, maybe a little too well offensively. Riley Green has cooled down. Javi Baez had a great start to the year, even though we know that he is not like a great player anymore. He came crashing down to earth, and some of the rotation bets didn't pay off as well, and that has been coupled with, as you mentioned, the Guardians surging. The Mets collapse does feel slightly more self-inflicted, dare I say. Like the kind of thing where it's like you had a core here that with the right pieces around, you should be able to kind of weather any storm. And they were just revealed to be really thin in terms of depth, especially rotational depth, which can't happen.
The offense has been streaky, but you can't have a non-streaky offense now. That's not possible in the way that hitters take their approach to hitting now in modern baseball. But if you actually look at the lineup, everyone is having a good year. I mean, everyone, they're all having good years. Lindor is having an okay year by his standards, like 800 OPS, great defense, pretty good. Soto, his OPS has been climbing up towards 1,000 again for the season, pretty good. Pete,
I thought, it's got to be a different one, Soto, right? Because all the daily rags that I read, right, like the Daily News, New York Post, that sort of thing.
Daily rags.
I had this sealed in May that he was the newest Bobby Bonilla. Mets were going to be paying him an eternity for nothing.
They are going to be paying him an eternity. Although none of it is deferred, so they won't be. I think they will still be paying Bonilla after Soto. No, maybe not anymore. In any case, we got a lot of really positive feedback on the transatlantic accent work that we rolled out on the Patreon recently. Patreon.com/tippingpitches. It was brief, but kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of what we're doing over there, not because we're going deeper on baseball analysis, not because it's like better inherently, although the episodes are better, mostly just because it's weirder.
Yeah, we are doing the long asked for accent work over on the Patreon right now.
Yeah.
It's
and
live.
you did a whole episode in the French accent too.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Which sounds like, just give people a little taste.
Hold on.
I don't know why you don't ever say like a word. You just make a noise.
Isn't that mostly what it is? It's like hand gestures and noises.
I think the hand gestures thing is more associated with Italians.
Well, right. Oh, but sorry. You have a cigarette in your hand that you're kind of waving about.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you want me to say? Bonjour?
That sounded less French.
Look, this is why I wasn't prepared. It's not a Patreon day. I hadn't done my vocal warm-ups before.
It's always
this.
Patreon day, dude. Day and night, it's Patreon.
Always has been, brother.
Yeah, so back to my point about the Mets. Everyone in the lineup has been good. You look up and down the whole lineup, they all have OPS league average or better. I mean, even like it looked really bad for Beatty for a while there, and he's turned it around. He's had a really good season. McNeil's cooled off a little bit, but for most of the year, his OPS was over 800. Now it's like 775 or something. Even Alvarez's APS is like OPS is like 780 or so. And he's the fucking catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, Vientos was just god awful to start the year, and then he got hurt, and he's been pretty good since he came back. Not quite as good as he was last year during the playoffs, but like the lineup is not the problem. And Stearns had like almost nothing to do with the lineup. Like all you had to do was do what you're supposed to be the best at, which was build a bullpen, scratch together 5 innings from starters. And even that was too much. Like, how's the Frankie Montas experiment working out? You paid for his Tommy John and for an 80 RA for 3 months. You know?
Yeah. He should, you know what he should do is go and tear his UCL again. Say, we're taking that one back. That's I'm Stearns, I mean, should do that.
I'm pretty mad. I'm pretty mad at him. I'm pretty mad at the team. I'm pretty mad at everyone. I'm pretty upset. Because it's supposed to work out. Like it should work out, you know? They signed Juan Soto. They just came off the most exciting season in decades for the organization. The fans showed up. This is the most attendance ever at Citi Field, 3rd in franchise history. Shea Stadium had like 10,000 more seats per game. So if you want to just talk about like percentage of fans of seats, butts and seats, it's probably the highest ever. I haven't actually done that math, but that's just back of the napkin for me right here. We did our part. We appreciated Juan Soto. We were still cheering for him, giving him standing ovations when he came out and he was super cold and your daily rags were throwing dirt on him. And yet still, this is how we were rewarded. This is how we were rewarded.
Well, it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's not always going to work out. But that implies that sometimes it should, right? You would think that maybe once or twice.
I mean, it's for 40 years, Alex. 40 years. It'll be 40 years next year.
Yeah.
Since they won the World Series. That's 11 more years than I've been alive.
It's not great, Bob.
It makes a guy wonder, like, will I be alive? I know I don't do this rant a lot, but I mean, 40 years, it's a long time. Many people don't make it that long. I'm not trying to say that I'm not going to make it that long, but it could be another 40 years. Who knows?
Right.
Anything can happen. The rapture's tomorrow.
Well, I was going to say, this is the last baseball season ever, so.
We'll just play it in the virtual ballpark up in the sky.
That's what I'm calling heaven from now on. I'm really just trying to get to the virtual ballpark in the sky, brother. See you in Valhalla.
If you code it, we will come. You know who's going to the virtual ballpark up in the sky? Clayton Kershaw's going to the virtual ballpark up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
His curveball will rain down from the virtual ballpark heavens. Called it a career out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I always thought he was going to play for the Rangers to end his career. That's what I was told every offseason for the last 8 years.
Wait, so you mean the narrative ball did not actually end up narrativing? Narrative, right.
Narrativing is good too, though.
I think
that's
so.
That's the French. You want to try to take stock of Clayton Kershaw's impact and legacy? You want to try to just bang it out real quick right here?
What a guy, man. What a pitcher. I mean, when you name pitchers, when you think of pitchers, he's certainly among them. If not the one.
If not among them.
if not among them.
Yeah, that's true.
He's definitely in that group of guys who've thrown baseballs.
I'm just gonna let you just die out there.
That's correct. I'm trying to make that trip to the virtual ballpark early.
This is like when Kobe had 55 points against the Raptors and they just kept letting Jalen Rose cover him one-on-one. That's what I'm doing to you right now. He finished with 81. Not a single double team in sight. You know, I'm not coming to help. You're doing the tipping pitches honorific of Clayton Kershaw's career. So
right. Yeah. I mean, genuinely, what can you say about Clayton Kershaw? What can you say about him? I think I'm doing great. I think the listeners are like, this is incredibly touching. Heartfelt.
I have something to add. Dude, did you know that he was high school teammates with Matthew Stafford? Childhood friends.
Clayton, the Dodgers pitcher?
Yeah. The Dodgers pitcher.
When? In high school?
And like dating back to Little League, dude. Did you know this?
What the fuck?
I heard that and I was like, dude, that's just like another fact that I don't think many people know.
Don't do it.
Jack Flaherty, Lucas Giolito, and Max Fried. All three are pitching right now in Major League Baseball. They played on the same high school team. I didn't even finish the fact. I forgot to finish the fact.
Oh my gosh. Clayton Kershaw.
You're kind of smolting me right now. I keep thinking you're gonna say something, and then
is an American professional baseball pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Look, he's really good. He is like growing up. He was like the platonic ideal. Maybe him and like Justin Verlander of what it meant to be a like lights out, shut down starting pitcher, like a true pitcher's pitcher who is coming out there. And Kershaw, frankly, is a little different because he never struck me as incredibly overpowering on the mound. That was never really his game, right? It was a little bit of guile. It was an incredible arsenal that he had incredible control over. And at least early on in his career before he got injured, it was remarkable consistency. I mean, he was putting the ball exactly where he wanted it to go. I mean, some of those like 2015, where he walked 1.6 batters per nine, not just to be like, now I'm going to start referencing his baseball reference page, but like there are some stupid numbers on there. 300 strikeouts
in 2015.
Yeah, in 2015. Yeah, that same year. I mean, I'll also say he, at least in my mind, feels kind of inextricably linked with Vin Scully. Someone who, like, if I think of Vin, I'm likely thinking of him calling a Clayton Kershaw game.
Yeah, that's just our age.
Which is our age. Yes, that is. But I don't know. He was the moment, man.
He was the moment.
He was the moment. You like that one? You heard that one before?
Whoa, that was kind of a bar. Did you come up with that one all on your own?
I did, yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned Verlander. I'll throw in Scherzer as well. I think these are the three guys that always have to get mentioned in the same breath. Verlander and Scherzer, obviously a little, actually even older than Kershaw, dealt with, I think, fewer injuries throughout their careers. So even seemed younger in some ways for a while. I think age has caught up to both of those guys, although Verlander has still had some good starts this year. Scherzer, not so much. But they were all three sort of like a three-headed race for the best pitcher of their era, if you want to consider them of the same era. Kershaw, I think, was best at his peak, better than either of those guys at their peak, even though Verlander has like several no-hitters, a bunch of Cy Young awards. I think 2012 to 2017 Kershaw was about as set your watch to it as a pitcher can be. Historically, I mean, dating back 100 years, he was as consistent and as dominant, whether you want to look at the fact that his ERA just kept going down. He was the only, that was a pet stat of effectively wild. I remember them always coming back to that, which is that he just constantly year over year kept lowering his already historically low career ERA year over year. He just kept leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. Of course, the injuries derailed that. When I think of him in the same vein as some of these other guys who it was just so immediately apparent that you are watching a generational level guy, not just from the stuff perspective, not just from an accuracy perspective, but from like a pitching ingenuity perspective. Like the way that people talk about him and his ability to find a way to get it done always makes me lament the fact that I was not able to watch like a Tom Seaver in real life, but this is our version of that. And we're losing the sacred texts. We're losing, the histories. We don't have real starters like this anymore who you attach that level of mystique to. And Kershaw was maybe the last great mystery as a starting pitcher, where basically anything could happen anytime he went out there. You would not write it off. Strike out 18, sure. Throw a perfect game, sure. Like, it really did feel possible. I think it was cut short by injuries. I also think that his legacy is genuinely impacted by two things. The first thing is on the field. The first thing is the fact that he sucked in the playoffs. Enough times that like those of us trying to play narrative ball to defend him as the best pitcher of his generation had a hard time to continue spinning it.
Right. Like it became statistically relevant after a certain period of time.
That's number one. I mean, and this happens to a lot of great starting pitchers. This happened to Verlander as well. Whereas like Scherzer went the other direction. He leveled up in the playoffs. This 2019 run is better than anything that either of those other two guys could throw on their resume when it comes to October. And then there's also like the social context of Kershaw, which I think over the last couple of years, it became a lot less fun to talk about him as this great mystique and a lot more imperative to talk about him as this hyper-religious, conservative face of the Dodgers anti-queer stance. That's what he was. And I find that unfortunate. I find that genuinely unfortunate, the crash course of real life and baseball. I mean, Vin is like, I'm glad you mentioned him too, because he's another perfect example of like, there's an example of a guy who's like, man, if that guy was in my real life, I would have some disagreements with him. But when it comes to baseball, nothing to say against it, you know? And that's kind of how I feel about Kershaw too. But obviously this show makes a point of everything being one thing. It's all part of one big conversation. And I mean, I think that people will not be surprised to hear that it became a lot less fun for us to talk about Kershaw. If you date back to our 200th episode, no, 100th episode, and we did a best players of the decade or most important players of the decade year over year. And Kershaw was it for 2015. I just think to the Tipping Pitches community and podcast, if we were to redraft that Bill Simmons style, truly sad day in America. Truly sad rapture in America. Plus the players of the decade redraftables. I think we probably wouldn't pick Kershaw for that reason, for the same reason that we did pick him before, because he felt iconographic to us. And now he feels less so. That is all, I think, in the stew. And then the ultimate like trump card for my remembrance of him will be nobody threw a pitch that looked like his curveball.
Yep.
And nobody threw a pitch that was better than his slider. The sneaky better pitch of the two, but obviously more aesthetically pleasing to watch that big over the top looping curveball.
Yeah. Reminds me of Barry Zito's, honestly. Whenever he threw it, he made me think of the sort of, again, lefty, crazy, like, 12-6 curveball with 20 inches of break or whatever. It looks like 3 feet when you're watching it on the screen. You're like, how does anyone hit that? You're right that it became weird to sort of talk about. Like, he became weird to sort of talk about in a purely baseball term in the last couple years.
You either go to the big virtual ballpark up in the sky, or you live long enough to see yourself become hated by baseball Twitter.
Pretty much, yeah. He waited a little late. Well, he waited a little too long. Yeah, man. I don't know.
If Kershaw played for, let's just say the Marlins, would we care that much? If he had the exact same career on the Marlins, and then in that case, you leave out all the playoff stuff.
Right.
How much does playing for your whole career for the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium, spanning the stretch of Vin Scully to post Vin Scully, connecting those two eras of Dodger baseball and being the most important player on the team for that period of time, how much does that vault his career to a different stratosphere?
I mean, I think it impacts it. Although if he had spent his whole career with the Marlins or the Brewers or whatever, it's weird to even think about that.
I actually think the Brewers is a better case for it to be the same, because he would have spanned Euchre to post Euchre.
Right. True. Yes.
No shade to the Marlins broadcasters. It's just the first team that I thought of.
Right.
If he spent his whole career with the Diamondbacks, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Spanning the pre and post FBM eras. Wait, are they FBM?
No,
that's the Angels.
Yeah. Diamondbacks is Avnet.
Avnet. Yes. Yeah,
Charles Avner. Did you see the Diamondbacks? No, did you see the Giants post the video of Bumgarner hitting a home run against him on opening day?
No, that's baller though.
They're so annoying. They're so annoying. I laughed though.
I love a little ribbing. I love when the team pages get spicy. When the admins take the gloves off.
That rivalry is not even that spicy anymore.
I know they got to keep it alive somehow. You're right. I think like him being a Dodger, having a rivalry with the Giants that for a while there in the 2010s did feel very present, especially when the Giants were on that run of theirs.
Scoreboard, the Giants still had a better stretch.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But him sort of being the face, the other on the other side of that rivalry felt meaningful. And there was a certain guarantee that like you were going to see him in national spotlights because people wanted to see the Dodgers in the national spotlight, especially sort of post, 2010, right? Which is when the Dodgers really start putting together that dynasty that you could argue still exists to this day, if you want to call it that. Depends on how much you value rings in dynasties. I think we kind of do value them, but like he's been there.
We on the Tipping Pitches podcast, or we in culture?
I think we on the
Is there a difference?
Pitches right, yes.
Culture shapers that we are.
He was there for the whole thing. He had his first full year in 2009 at 21 years old and was incredible.
He was the only guy getting a job in 2009.
I saw the wheels turning for that one.
He found love in a hopeless place, Dodger Stadium. at the very tail end of the McCourts.
So anyway, is there more to say? He was throwing like complete games too. He threw like 6 complete games one year.
That's a lot of complete games.
That's the kids today could never, because they're soft.
Yeah, everyone's 5 and dive now.
Shameful.
Or in the
Shameful
case of the
sport.
Mets, 3 1/3 and dive.
Rob Manfred, how do you sleep at night?
I think Rob sleeps well. Actually, never mind. He doesn't look like he sleeps very well. But not because he has regrets about the way that baseball has gone.
No, you just think he's maybe like a sleep apnea guy or something like that?
I don't want to speculate about apnea. I just, based on his oeuvre, he doesn't look like a well-sleeping man. He doesn't move through the world like a guy who was counting sheep. I don't know.
What time do you think he gets up in the morning?
Early. He's a lawyer, and he has been for like 40 years.
Yeah.
More. 60 years? How? I don't know. When do you become a lawyer? Neither of those numbers feels right.
No. But yeah, he probably gets up at like, what, 5:30 every morning?
Oh, God. No wonder I'll never be commissioner. What time do you get up?
At 7 on work days.
7.
Open-ended question on the weekends.
Dude, I don't know how you do it. One thing that's always amazed me about you is that you could get up. You like the concept of a circadian rhythm. You're sort of like the exception that proves the rule.
Right, yeah.
You'll be like allegedly up at 7, according to you on the Tipping Pitches podcast, a font of truth. And then on the weekends, you'll be like up at like 11:30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right.
So you're telling me I either have to start waking up at 7 on the weekends or sleeping through half the workday?
Yeah. That's how I used to do it. Well, I mean, but I was working West Coast hours. I'd be up at like 10:40,
Yeah.
Cash. Skip breakfast, straight to lunch.
Goddamn tech bros.
This was I was not a tech bro, though. This is when I was a content bro. I guess for a
Fine
tech
line.
company. Spotify is desperate to get me back. Not as an employee, as a premium member. They are sending me a lot of push notifications. Like, you'd think my contributions to the Spotify Corporation apparently lie within my $9.99 or whatever it is now, $11.99 monthly subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of those pods that I made for them.
Nope.
But little do they know.
Sorry, you're just a number on a spreadsheet now.
Little do they know I'm actually not enjoying Apple Music that much, so they have a better shot than they think
You're not.
to get me back. I love being able to talk about Spotify. This is so fun.
I know.
I don't open it for anything nowadays, except to like share the link to our podcast.
Right. Do you have anything more on Clayton Kershaw?
No.
All right. Well, we can just keep talking about him then.
I thought that was a pretty good conversation.
I think so too.
Good. So good that it ended in me asking you what time you wake up in the morning.
Given where it started, I feel good about it. Wasn't sure that anything was going to come out, really.
All right. I want to talk about Rob Thomson and Nick Castellanos. Keen observers of the Philadelphia Phillies, of which you are definitely not one, despite alleged past allegiances or current allegiances, I guess, will know that it's been a rough year for Castellanos. He's not hitting, and he's also not good on defense, and he doesn't run the bases well. Pretty much not contributing anything at all when he's not hitting. And it's just been a rough year for him at the plate, and his playing time, which was previously very consistent. I mean, one of the jokes about Rob Thomson was that he didn't know how to change the lineup. For like a whole year, he had the same lineup every single game. Even into the postseason, he wouldn't change it despite pleas from the Phillies fans, like, mix it up, we need something slightly different. Like, guys got to stay fresh, whatever. And now the Phillies have a plethora of definitely defensively minded outfielders that they could put in his place if Castellanos is not hitting. And that has started to happen, as Marsh has come back and rounded back into form at the plate. Obviously they have Max Kepler, who they acquired in the offseason this past year, Harrison Bader at the deadline, Weston Wilson, who is that's a crazy guy who's on this team. They have no shortage of outfielders, which is why they even moved Bryce Harper to first base in the first place. And Castellanos has just saw his playing time decline. And like, he's been talking about it. He's been like sort of saying like, yeah, I'm not happy about this. He's been griping about it, we should say.
About the playing time.
About the playing time. And mainly about Rob Thomson's lack of communication around why or why not Castellanos is playing. I'll play you these clips.
Do you understand why you haven't been playing as much as you normally do?
I don't really talk to Rob all that often, so that's just, I play whenever he tells me to play, and I sit whenever he tells me to sit.
So, the coaches or Rob don't sit down and explain to you what they want you to do and whatever role they want you to have?
Communication over the years has been questionable, at least in my experience. But also, I grew up communicating with somebody like my father, which is very blunt, direct, and consistent.
So that's what Castellanos had to say, and then they eventually asked Rob Thomson later about this. Also, just wild therapy moment there where Castellanos was like, "This is how my father communicated with me."
Your relationship with him. You said last night that you guys don't talk often. Like, where do you stand on that?
Well, so as far as the communication part of it, if not only Nick, but if anybody else in that clubhouse doesn't think that I'm communicating enough with them, I'm probably not. I got to do a better job at it. It's just being accountable. But there's two ways of communicating, and that door is always open. And I'm not a mind reader. I can't tell the future. I'm not a mind reader. So, I urge players. I want players to come in here and tell me what's on their mind. So,
kind of spicy for a team that's going to win 97 games and go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although I think he did a pretty good job of diffusing it and saying, well, I mean, Rob? He had kind of, Rob.
We can't talk about, we can't just say Rob.
We can't say Rob. Rob Thomson, which I don't like saying because my brain wants to say Rob Thomas. Every single time. Every single time.
Who you've seen in concert now, what, like 15 times?
Yeah, I think 17 after the two secret shows he played earlier this year.
Oh, which is behind only John Mayer for most seen artists for you, right?
Damn it. Rob Thomson. Rob Thomson, who is the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. Kind of a bar when he said, if someone says I'm not communicating well, then I'm probably not.
Accountability.
Love a little accountability. Even if
reminds
it's
me of how we act on this podcast.
Yes, exactly. I've always said you're the Rob Thomson of the tipping pitches world. And I've always said that I'm the Rob Thomas of the tipping pitches world.
Give me a little smooth. Come on.
You're just like the ocean under the moon.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Did you know Rob Thomson is Canadian?
No. And that feels like it should be a bigger deal. Really? We got
and
a
meanwhile,
Canadian leading America's team?
Yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, Rob Thomas,
the founding fathers think,
is German born. What?
But he's also that one.
But he also grew up in Florida. That's interesting.
The Germany to Florida pipeline. You know it.
If I said unfortunately we're living in it, bro. If I said to you, I'll give you like $100 for every Rob Thomas song you can name right now. Like, how many could you get? And Smooth doesn't count because that's actually a Santana
song. Yeah, I don't know that I could name any because he's Matchbox 20, right?
Yeah.
I can't name a single Matchbox 20 song. I'm sorry.
How's it feel, broke boy?
All right, you go.
Put my wallet away. I got some Rob Thomas in the holster, bro. My mom's a big Rob Thomas head. In fact, she's going to be... I'm going to receive text messages about this segment of the podcast.
I'm sure you will. Yes.
I've been receiving a lot of text messages from her recently about the podcast in general.
That's a little terrifying, but...
She goes, I was in the car for 4 hours this weekend. I was like, okay. She was like, I was caught up on some pods. I was like, all right, what'd you think? Was not an immediate, like, good, you know?
Right, yeah.
Which in mom speak is like pretty bad, you know? Shape up, I think she was saying, guys. Get back on track.
Oh, we've let her down. I'm sorry. We will vow to do better. This is our statement. This is our accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone says the podcast is not good enough, the podcast is probably not good enough.
Yeah. And even if they say it's good, I'm still going to assume they're lying to me. Because that's how my brain works. Rob Thomson of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Nick Castellanos.
Up in Florida.
Yeah, it's not what you want. Although, I suppose if you're going to beef with anyone on your playoff-bound team, it being the guy who's quickly becoming a bench player is one of the better choices. If Bryce Harper was out here saying, yeah, communication is not great between me and Rob Thomas, that's a 5-alarm fire right there.
Yeah. Although Bryce Harper's energy this year, are you up on this?
No.
It's insane. It's insane. He's like so serious. It's actually kind of scary. Like, he doesn't celebrate. He doesn't talk. He doesn't smile. He looks like he has lost. He is devoid of all joy, which I am not passing judgment. As two guys here who have gone through some stretches, like, I'm worried. Genuinely worried. We cracked all these jokes in the offseason about raw milk, and so far what we've gotten is just depression Bryce.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Correlation or causation?
I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. I've only heard about Tylenol.
I don't know. Is that something that can be transferred down from the cow, like through the milk?
Depression?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mad cow disease, more like sad cow disease.
Hey, wow.
You kind of like that one a little bit.
I really did like that one.
You know, Matchbox 20 spells the word out now, but they used to stylize it as the number.
I was familiar with that, yeah.
That's unfortunate because, listen, I would say you should keep the number. AP Style would also say that you should keep the number.
That's
Any
true.
Number 10 or greater.
Yep.
You don't spell it out.
Other thoughts on AP Style?
No, I have more thoughts on Matchbox 20 if you want. They started as a band called Tabitha's Secret. Now, you listener at home, you were thinking Matchbox 20, not the best name for a band, but if you think about it in context, it's a big improvement
It's a really
Tabitha's
good name
Secret.
for a band. I don't know that I want to know the backstory on that one.
I think Castellanos' time in Philadelphia is done. And I'm curious to see where he lands because there's not going to be a huge market for a bat first corner outfielder who is sort of a space cadet who stopped using his bat very well. But I, as a cultural historian of the game, would like his legacy to continue on because he's given us some of our finest moments. Him staring at the camera and basically giving a middle finger to Rob Manfred, him saying that every day is opening day. These are important things in our world. So I'm best wishes to him. I hope that his team falls short this October and he lands somewhere that is funnier next year. That's my assessment. Would you like to talk about the MLB Ballpark app?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
You don't want to sing a little 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20? You know that one. If that one came on, you would know it.
If it would. I hear that Matchbox 20 is the kind of band where every time one of their songs come on, I'm like, oh, who
every
is
time
this?
they're in town, you drop everything and go see them.
Right, yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The MLB Ballpark app.
They have a song with Mick Jagger.
Well, that's not that surprising.
I guess you're right.
I've always said that Rob Thomas is the Mick Jagger.
I want someone listening to this to Photoshop Rob Thomson on stage with Matchbox 20 in Rob Thomas's place. And I'd like somebody to Photoshop Rob Thomas into the Phillies uniform in the dugout.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
The gauntlet's been thrown. The Tipping Pitches community is a community full of many skills. On the commune of this baseball internet that we live on, you got people who can do anything, basically. People who can troll me with Slack profile photos of Zach Cram. People who can call out into an empty wilderness asking you to finally share the photos that are on your phone from the Tipping Pitches Kansas City meetup and hear no response.
Ouch.
People who could Photoshop. Someone do that. Someone do the Photoshop. All right. MLB Ballpark app and then take it home.
Mm-hmm. To the great virtual ballpark in the sky.
I know, I can tell that one's going to stick with you.
That one is really going to stick with me. Make sure you have your tickets for it.
There's 3 things you take away from this episode, listener. It's sad cow disease, the virtual ballpark up in the sky, and it's that Clayton Kershaw was certainly a pitcher. You have to be able to say that about him.
Exactly. We are the foremost podcast in the baseball world. Period.
Nope,
Period.
not even in the baseball world.
Yep. The thing about the ballpark app is that people keep stealing tickets off of them.
It's really unfortunate.
Becoming a real problem.
It's especially unfortunate because historically, this is one of the best things MLB has ever made. It works so well.
Yep.
It's stunning how well it works.
I do not understand how it works. I purchase my tickets on another platform, and then 10 seconds later, there they are in the little app.
You have to understand how it works, right? It's associated with your email address.
All right. Don't dig too deep, brother. Let me be wowed by the joys of the internet for once.
Okay. All right, fine.
I don't know how it works. What email? I don't know what that is. You're right.
Grok puts them in there.
Why'd you have to do that? No, there are an alarmingly escalating number of reports from fans who purchased tickets and went to retrieve them via the ballpark app, and they just simply were no longer there. You told me that you received an alert from them, from the ballpark app, from MLB.com, whatever, saying change your password, loser.
I did.
If you get hacked, it's your fault.
I'm the type of guy that's when I get an email that says change your password, I'm like, well, clearly this is the hacker trying to get my password.
Right.
2016 DNC style, They're going Podesta mode on me. So I log in separately to MLB and I changed my password. I changed my password, of course, to GapStock123. Which is what we use for all of our passwords. And now I'm good. I've been to multiple games since then and no problems. My ape's still there.
What's going on?
I don't know. I tried to read Evan Drellick's article about it, and there were 13 things that popped up about how mad the New York Times was at me for not being subscribed.
Sounds like you should subscribe.
No, I'm not going to do that.
It wouldn't be so failing if more people like you.
Now that I'm resubscribing from multiple accounts for Disney Plus, now that they're putting Kimmel back on the air, I have to clear a little money in my budget.
Well, he's all the news you need, right?
News you can use more at 11. I don't know. It seems like they have had some sort of backdoor into their system in multiple ways. There was all these glitches that I was telling you about with MLB TV. There was the accounts issue. There was the ticket stealing issue. I think they've been had.
Hey, who among us, I do wonder if this is the thing that forces them to implement some sort of 2-factor authentication.
They do have 2-factor authentication.
Do they?
Maybe this is why they didn't steal my... Yeah, I have 2-factor set up on my MLB account.
So I definitely don't.
They allow
Probably because I was like, who's going to fucking hack into my MLB account?
They're like, one
okay,
of those
take my A's tickets.
You gonna go all the way to Sacramento for this, big dog? They allow you to use the magic link to your email address, but they also have 2-factor that you can turn on, I think.
I rescind my statement. I'd like to issue
You know who else has
apology.
2-factor? You know who else has 2-factor? And by the way, a great app.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, he has 3-factor. Father, Son, Matchbox 20. Holy Spirit. No, Ticketmaster, dude. They have 2-factor.
I mean,
every time you close out of the app and come back in, you have to re-authenticate.
It's a pretty miserable experience. I stood outside of the concert venue last week, out of the PUP concert, for like 15 minutes using 3 different browsers to try and get in, and it just simply I almost called you and said, I need you physically here right now, please.
I welcome that phone call at any hour of the day, in any location.
Even just to read you an article, which, as established, you know I will.
You went the Ben Perry mode on me. It was 1:15. You were all alone, and you needed me now.
What a reference. The Athletic story also highlights that MLB has touted the success of the Ballpark app.
Yeah, they love it.
In 2023, 99.5% of fans successfully retrieved their tickets in 2022, up from 85% in 2021, which is kind of insane to think about retrospectively. This comes from a league report.
The Ballpark app still, years later, thinks that I am my mom, because I think the first time I ever purchased tickets, I think I used her credit card, and it has just called me her name. In the Ballpark app only. I have MLB TV. I have my own account. I have that. She has her own account. It's a whole thing, and they're still just like, Diane, time to upgrade.
But see, this is what I mean. What's going on back there? What's going on behind the servers?
I don't know.
There's just one overworked, underpaid intern who's manually assigning tickets to each person.
That was me during the meetup. The Kansas City meetup, manually
literally,
sending tickets to every single person. Have you experienced the situation in the Ballpark app where they're like, you can use your rewards, you can put your credit, you can pay for stuff in the Ballpark app now too? Like when you go to the stadium, like there's a precisely 0.000% chance that I'm ever going to put my credit card in and buy something ahead of time on the Ballpark app.
No,
that's not happening.
Here's the thing, is that I am there to watch the baseball game.
Yeah, me too.
And if I wanted to play on my phone, I don't know. I could be on my couch watching an Angels game. Like,
I don't have that much else to say about it, unless other than the fact that I'm sorry if you got your ticket stolen out of the Ballpark app, and we've just been cracking jokes for the last 10 minutes. That's kind of actually a bummer. I would be really upset if that happened to me, if I showed up at Citi Field and it was like, actually, I don't have any tickets to this game.
Yes.
I will close by saying I did file a complaint against the MLB app yesterday.
Say more.
And I only say that so aggressively because when you submit a complaint via the app or the MLB website, they send you an email of your complaint and they say, you've opened a case against them. You're familiar with this? This has happened to you before?
Well, not with MLB, but I am familiar with this idea. Yes.
And that's just such strong verbiage.
It is.
For what you're doing. Let me pull it up. It says MLB support new case created. And then it gives you the case number, as if I'm ever going to need that again. Like, no one's going to reach out about this. I wish that it put the text of the support case that I filed. Of the complaint. Because this is sort of like when I just get into like a rage, like a blind rage, angry enough for me to submit a complaint via an app that I know they're not going to solve my complaint.
Right.
It's a little bit like waking up after sending a drunk text. You know, you're like, you don't know what you said.
Yeah, right.
I do.
Your eyes go black.
I do remember the last 2 lines of the complaint where here's what I made the complaint because yesterday while watching the Mets game, it was Sunday afternoon, the game was on SNY, but they were also picking it up and putting it on MLB Network. You know how sometimes they do that? Mm-hmm. They're like, this is the MLB Network game of the day. And you're in the MLB TV app, which you pay for and you pay extra for SNY. So you should have access to either way. Either way for this game to be on, you should be able to watch it.
Yeah.
So in the app on my television, I go to watch the game itself and it says that it's blacked out because it's on MLB Network. So then I scroll down. I'm like, okay, let me put on the MLB Network box of MLB. And they're like, they pull up Greg Amsinger, who's a guy who I have to know who that is now because of you and because of this whole thing we're doing here. He comes up on my screen, which I'm already I'm feeling the palpitations because I have to deal with this guy. And he's like, all right, viewers, we're getting ready to go to one of two games. We're getting ready to go to Mets versus Nationals, or we're getting ready to go to Cubs versus Reds, depending on where you are, right? And I'm thinking, here I am, like a fucking jerk off, thinking that they're going to go to the Mets game because I live in New York.
Right.
Of course, they don't do that because I live in New York. They want me to have cable, which I do, which I pay for through the MLB TV app, which is blacked out. All right. So I'm like, okay, we'll see. Well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they'll put the Mets game on, okay, because they blacked it out. So that might mean that I have the Mets game through a different avenue. Of course, that was wrong. Add fuel to the fire, Alex. What happens? The Reds-Cubs game is in a rainout, and yet they still go to that game.
Oh, my God.
So they go to an empty ballpark with nothing happening. No one's even talking. It's just silence and an empty stadium. And I'm like, so the Mets game is blacked out. The Reds game is on the MLB whatever network channel. Not happening. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to break out my computer. But I go to my phone first, and the SNY broadcast will play on my phone, but not on the TV app.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, will it play on the computer? Yes, it does play on the computer. But it also brings up a pop-up that's like, this game is blacked out, but I see it playing in the background. So I just hit X, and then it plays.
Wow, you got them. They never considered.
Yeah,
they were like, we have to legally put up this window that says the game is blacked out.
No
one's going to close the window. Right.
Okay, so then I'm just watching it on my computer, and as this is happening, I file a complaint. I log my complaint with MLB TV, and I express my discontent, as one is wont to do in this situation. And I don't remember everything I said in it, and I'm probably not proud of it. I think I probably just laid out my experience, not so dissimilar to what I just did here on this podcast. And then I've closed the complaint by saying, you got to just figure it out. Just figure it out. I don't care how. Just figure it out.
Bobby, I don't know if you've heard, they did figure it out. Next year, you're going to be able to subscribe to ESPN to get the privilege of downloading the new ESPN app, at which point you will then, through that, be able to buy MLB TV, blackouts included, and then you might be able to get an additional add-on that will let you watch your local cable network. So I would say, at maximum, you're going to have to subscribe to 3 different things next year. That's it. Done and dusted.
But if you think about it, though, this is for the privilege to be able to quad box. You know, I got Mets here, blacked out, obviously. I got rained out Reds game right next to it. Let's get pumped up.
Yeah.
But underneath, okay, let's get jiggy with it. We got Mandalorian and Jimmy Kimmel, all 4 playing at the same time. I mean, come on. What could be better than this?
I love YouTube TV's like suggested quad boxes, you know, because it'll be like Mets Cardinals. I don't know, Oregon State versus Tennessee. I don't know what sport that would be. Fucking football. I don't know.
Could be any sport. I would imagine
then it's like,
those schools might play each other.
And then it's like the Caitlin Collins show on CNN. And it's like the and I'm like, oh my God.
God damn it. We went through this whole podcast and I didn't have to use the bleep once. You couldn't have just said like Mr. Beast finds out or whatever. No, that's Pablo Torre finds out. Mr. Beast beheads 19-year-old college student. Oh, God.
You don't want to talk about Matt Shaw right now?
I don't even know what you're saying. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we can't talk about it because you're gonna bleep it all out.
It doesn't fit with my editorial vision.
I know it doesn't. You're more of a decorum guy.
We'll see. I'll update the listeners next week to see if they get back to me on my case against MLB TV.
Please do. I'm sure they will.
I'm assuming they're gonna solve. I think they're gonna solve it probably.
I mean, you know what you could do is you can email Rob Manfred.
I don't think he'll like my tone. And I
change
also
your tone then, buddy.
So I'm just supposed to bend the knee on my speech to fit into his box? No. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Do you want to be heard or not then?
I feel like Rob has our email addresses and anything associated with our names like auto spammed, you know, like filtering into some sort of folder that some sort of intern has to like print out and burn, you know, like.
So you're saying that you don't think that making a political statement is worth it if you think your opponent is already disagreeing with you?
I'm saying
speak your mind, brother.
I'm saying from a practical perspective, with everything I know about email open rates now, with my new 9 to 5, I just don't think that's going to make it through to him. We have to catch him in a different environment.
Right. If we see him on the streets.
Like
you're going to regale him with this very specific story.
I might. I might be like, "What's up, dude? What's up? Yeah. What's your plan? Is your plan really for me to pay one company, for them to pay another company, for that company to pay a third company so that I can watch the Mets, who are 9 miles away from where I live?"
You forget that Rob is all about efficiency, Bobby. It's about trimming the fat and creating the most streamlined sport there is.
I've never gotten that sense from him. Lawyers aren't about efficiency. Lawyers are about inefficiency.
Yes, I know. Would you call that bureaucracy?
The original shittification. This feels like an inflection point in the podcast where like we should end it. But what would happen if we tried to go for like another hour from right now? Like, what do you think? Like, really some good stuff could come out of it.
That bleep would be very heavily used. I will say that much.
Should we pivot to the live bleep?
Yes.
Should we pivot to like live sound effects? You know, like I'll close here. On the Patreon last week, I did this whole thing about how, for the first time in a long time, I questioned like whether or not we were being too entrenched, too cranky about our anti-video stance for the podcast. Because, like, you know, the video's already kind of recorded most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be funnier if listeners could actually watch? I don't know. You laugh, me laugh, whatever listeners want to fucking watch when they watch these podcasts. I said at the end of it, I was like, you know, we kind of honor the relationship with the Tipping Pitches community. If everyone replies to this post, or if everyone emails us and it's like, you guys should do video, maybe we should reconsider. And everyone responded, and they were like, definitely don't do video. They're like, we don't want to see your ass.
Keep those ugly mugs off my fucking screen.
You got a face for podcasting. The original meaning. That's what they all said. No, people were really nice about it, but someone said you should go even further anti-video. You should start doing audio-only gags. You should do Orson Wellesian style radio, like soundboard, sound effects, live orchestra. You should roll with, like, we should really double, triple, quadruple down on the audio medium. And I felt, no pun intended, I felt seen. I felt heard.
Boo. But I'm on board. I think it'll be fun. Tipping Pitches Radio Hour. Coming to you live.
What are some of the live effects? Please sound off in the comments. Like and subscribe. Email us tippingpitchespod@gmail.com. Some sound effects that you'd like to hear. Obviously, the ones that we've used in the past, you know, like A-Rod, Castellini, Bleep. I've gone back to that well a couple times. But other ones, I want to hear about other ones too. Do you want like an awooga? You know, like what do you want? Like you want a Matchbox 20? That'd be good.
I'll just do them. Thanks. Just tell me. Just do like we'll come up with hand signals. You can tell me when we need like a soundbite or something, and then I'll just do it on my end. It's going to be hard if it happens over when I'm talking, but I'll figure it out.
Maybe we could get a couple seconds of Matchbox 20. Maybe we could talk to Rob Thomas about clearing that.
More to come. Well, we're doing some ideating. We're still in the ideating phase of this.
8 years in, still ideating. Okay. Speaking of things we need you to email us about, we talked about on the Patreon how our 400th episode is coming up. That's just I mean, it's just ridiculous.
It's disgusting, really.
Let me get a boy for the 400th episode.
Do it. Please finish this episode. Please finish the call to action.
We need people to help us out with the 400th episode. The idea that we are proceeding with, after many good suggestions, the idea that we are proceeding with is the 21st Century MLB Partnerships Graveyard. We're going to do part 1 here on the public feed, part 2 on the Patreon feed. What that means is that we are going to run down a list. We're going to research this list. We're going to crack jokes about these partnerships. We're going to run down a list of all of the failed and or absurd and or non-existent companies that make up the history of MLB partnerships in this century. The reason I choose this century is because 1, it'll be easier to research. And 2, there's just way more funny companies.
And 3, like Cole Keith, we really don't acknowledge anything pre-1990s.
So think Enron, think that beer or whatever that didn't exist that MLB had a partnership with. Think these kinds of things. There's a link in the description where you can submit them. If you know them for your team specifically, great. If you know them for the league wide, great. We're looking for examples of sponsorships, partnerships. Oh, think Terra, the Washington Nationals Bitcoin competitor.
Stablecoin.
Well, Bitcoin is a stablecoin.
Well, sorry,
currency.
I know that you know more about this than I do. You're very entrenched in that.
I'm diversified.
Mm-hmm.
I work in Silicon Valley now, bro. Think things like that, and please submit them so that we do not have a heinous oversight. We're going to do our own research into this as well, but we want the input of the community to help us. Have I forgotten anything at this point?
Probably, maybe. I don't know. I don't even really know what you're talking about anymore.
Okay, great. I think that means it's time to end it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Tipping Pitches. We'll talk to you in 1 week's time.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping Pitches.
Tipping Pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping Pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!
Hit him with that boing.
Boing.